Hello and welcome to this episode of The Inner Estate with your host, Bridget Stewart. Our guest today is Michael Coxen. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Bridget. Love being here.
I'm thrilled that you're here because you and I share a lot of things in common. We are both specialists in the real estate industry and realtors, and we're both coaches, and we both have podcasts. So I can't wait to see what we come up with today. So, Michael, your podcast is The Mindful Agent. Your company, you're a businessman with your own real estate boutique brokerage, Magenta, serving like the Summerlin area and expanding in that whole area in Nevada. And you have a podcast called The Mindful Agent. So I am excited to dive in with you today, particularly in one area to start. You have an unorthodox approach to what many would call goals or goal setting or measuring your success in business. So I'm going to ask you, can you expand a little bit more on your approach to that and how it might be different than what people are used to?
Absolutely. I mean, I know it's a new year and everyone's probably sick of it. So before you tune out, just know this is not a goal-setting New Year's resolution show, right, Bridget?
Correct.
We're not going to talk about that, and you need a New Year resolution. I'm one that makes resolutions, year round. It depends what's going on in life. To save it for once a year, I think is absurd. And it's definitely a wonderful time to reflect. Don't get me wrong. I'm very reflective in the winter months about life and about what my real goals are as far as like happiness and joy. And that's what I tend to focus on is what makes me feel good, whether that's in work or play or family. And I really try to listen to my inner estate. I try to listen to my inner body. And you can really tell when you're doing a task of any kind, if it's something you love or hate very easily, right? Like you get that feeling, that icky feeling.
Yes.
Case of the Mondays or whatever they call it, Sunday blues and
Right.
all that stuff. I mean, that's your body and your soul telling you you're not aligned with your purpose. Whether it's February, January, or December, always be listening to that feeling. And I just try to set standards more than I try to set goals.
I love that. You set standards rather than setting goals.
Yeah, standards like an identity. Like I'm somebody who takes care of their body. Not I go to the gym 3 days a week, or I go running 5 miles a week. Like those are numerical goals a lot of people set. And you end up disappointed in yourself if you only run 3 miles, as opposed to I'm a runner. Or as I mentioned, I take care of my health. It becomes an identity that helps guide every decision you make, from, what time you wake up in the morning to what you eat, and you just identify as a healthy person. And if you're an entrepreneur or a real estate agent and everybody in life, you need to make that your number one priority. But if you're in sales, like you and I are, I identify as somebody who takes care of their clients. Now, is that going to be 100 clients, 2 clients? I don't really know. I mean, I can't control that. What I can control is how I take care of them. And I can also control my effort in obtaining clients. So a lot of people will do some business planning this time of year where, let's just say they want to do 1 transaction a month. And this is very common. If you're a real estate agent, it's like, okay, well, to get one deal, how many phone calls do I have to make? How many conversations? How many appointments? What's my percentage of success, and how many of those listings are going to sell? I stopped doing all that years ago. I just now identify as somebody who makes calls, and every weekday I do an hour of power. Sometimes it's a quarter hour, sometimes it's a full hour, but I just make sure I'm doing some level of client prospecting and touching like touch points and marketing every single day. That's a standard I have, is that I'm going to be persistent and consistent with my client outreach, but I don't make it like 100 phone calls. It just, I didn't like that feeling, frankly, of if my goal was 100 and I made 80 and I felt like I failed. Like 80 is a huge number. Just, did I make my calls today? That's a standard.
So, Michael, I want to address that slightly and take that further. As you gave the example of, let's say the goal was 100 contacts and you made 80. And let's say you made 80 because some of the people you connected with were truly needing your input, your conversation, and your advice. Or maybe it was just someone who wanted to catch up and you knew that you were filling a lonely spot for them, which frankly, sometimes we do in our industry, and it's a blessing. So maybe you hit 80, but it's because you had valuable, long, giving conversations that made people feel great, which ties to your standard of You take
Yeah.
care of your customers, right?
Yeah.
And
Love it.
yet, if you're just measuring it on the, oh, it was only 80 instead of 100, you would categorize it as I didn't succeed, or or even worse, I failed.
Yeah.
And
Good point.
how could you call that a failure?
And to use these numbers, right? And let's just say it's 100 a month, or no, it doesn't have to be 100 a day. I don't want to intimidate
Right, right.
anybody, but like, let's just say, yeah, what's more important, 100 meaningless conversations or 10 really good ones? You
That's
know?
right. And when I was saying 100, I was thinking about like a week. But yeah, you know, you and I both know whatever your measurement is. And frankly, what you and I are talking about, I think this obviously it's for anyone who's in any type of sales position, but the reality is we're all in sales. So if
Yes.
you're in management or HR or leadership, right? So anyone who's listening to us this far, it would apply in whatever they do.
Yeah. And I would encourage everyone, whatever your position is, like I mentioned that Sunday blues thing, and I used to have it all the time in different positions. And like life's too short to be unhappy. And if you need to start listening to that, like if you're in a job that's not aligned, like make it a standard to live a life of your choosing. And we all like want more money. And I just think that's not always the answer. In fact, it very rarely is. I love this visual. It's a cartoon I saw of a married couple on a beach, and they're sitting on the chairs drinking Mai Tais, watching the sunset. And the husband saying to the wife, "We're still us." And what makes me laugh about that is wherever you
Uh,
go, there you
That's
are. So,
right.
like, going on a vacation somewhere is not going to make you happier or make you a better person. Like, you have to
Right.
work on that internally, your inner estate. Again, I love this podcast for that reason. Like, make sure that your castle that you live in, that you inherit in your heart, is joyful every day. And if that job's not doing it for you, well, like your standards are too low. Basically, you need to set a higher standard for yourself to do a job that you enjoy, not that just makes money.
Michael, if someone's listening to us right now and they're in, I'm going to use the word career. So they're in a career, meaning they either had education or they've invested or they have years in it, and it is draining their soul, so to
Mhm.
speak.
Mhm.
And they feel as if with their current situation, they cannot step away from that at the time. What would you recommend to them, and how could they use standards from themselves to potentially create change for that situation?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, can you not step away from that, or are you choosing not to? And this is such a tough question. People don't want to face this answer. Oh, I can't because my kids are in, private school, or I
Private
can't
school,
because I have a car payment, or I
horseback
can't
riding
because
lessons.
mortgage, or yeah, it's like you're
Yeah,
making choices. And when are you going to own your choices? And like I've realized, as I've grown in my business and made more money, that the thrill has always been in the hunt of success, never in actually achieving the goal. I've said this before in a lot of different conversations. Like my wife and I have a house that we love, but it's frankly too big. It's only 2,800 square feet. I say only, but like we used to live in 1,100 square feet and we're like just as happy.
right.
The house did not make us any happier. So like if you're in a house that's perhaps too big, or you have too many cars, you have too many hobbies that are like, and you go to work to pay for these things, stop. Like get a job that you love, get one less thing or a smaller thing that you can afford. And your real happiness will present itself that when you wake up every day, go to a place or have a mission that you enjoy, whether you want to work with animals or school, whatever your thing is, and pick up the pen and paper and figure out who you are and what you want to do. My wife and I recently attended a retreat with Ainsley McLeod, and we did an exercise that I love that I'm going to share with your listeners.
Okay.
Look in the eyes of somebody you care about, a partner, or if you're alone, look in the mirror and say, "I'm here to blank." I'm here to, and say it. I want you to say it 10 times, and do not hesitate. Do not think, just answer it. I'm here to serve. I'm here to teach. I'm here to coach. And if you say, I'm here to teach, I'm here to teach, you can say it 3 or 4 times. Like when you get to 10, you might run out of things and start repeating things. Take note of what you're repeating, because I'm here to, and whatever you keep saying, that's your inner voice telling you what you're here to do. And you have to listen, because there's only success waiting for you when you follow that passion.
And even if, what I'm hearing you say is, even if it is a quote unquote difficult decision, and you have to make either what people would call air quotes sacrifices,
Yeah.
to make it real, that the true satisfaction and payoff and enjoyment of life is beyond those tough decisions.
Well beyond that. And I love that you said air quotes sacrifice. I was talking to a group of first time real estate investors about, they wanted to get this first deal done so bad, and they wanted a really nice house. A lot of their reasons was they wanted a nice house for themselves. So they wanted to invest in real estate and make enough cash flow to pay their mortgage. That was
Right.
everyone's goal. And they had this vision of this dream home. And I said, what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? Are you willing to buy a duplex somewhere maybe you don't want to live and rent out half of it now? No, no, no. We want to save and get to that point where we can have the dream home. Well, no, 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 no. You need to sacrifice and live in a duplex. And by the way, this idea of sacrifice, we live in the wealthiest time in the history of this planet. You have indoor plumbing, you have hot water, you have a roof over your
Excedrin.
head, right? You have this
Yes.
appliance that keeps your food cold. You have air
You
conditioning
have
that keeps
coffee anytime you want it.
from all over the globe. Like, you are
Right.
rich and spoiled, whether you think you are or not. Just look, that's why I love history. Look back on
Yeah.
the diseases that were killing people, the threats that we had. And of course there's threats today. And of course there's disease today. I mean, obviously we just went through a pandemic, but that pandemic was not as widespread due to modern medicine. Like, we are in such a spoiled time compared to history, but it's like everything else. Once you have a taste of a luxury, it becomes a necessity. So back to that, oh, well, I need 3 cars, or I need a big house, or I need a swimming
Right.
pool. You truly don't. So you have to just get real as far as what you're actually sacrificing to achieve these goals. And it's generally temporary. So if you're trying to buy your first
Yes.
investment, get that duplex. 3 years later, you could probably move into a fourplex, do it again, and then now you have 6 units under you, and then you can buy that house within 6 or 7 years of minimal, quote unquote, sacrifice.
Yeah. And the thing that you and I both know is the time is going to pass anyway, right? So
Yes, it's so
you
true.
may as
And
well be in action towards
we're seasoned
the
people
goal.
here. 7 years is
Right.
nothing. If you're
It's
in your
nothing.
20s, you think it sounds like a long time, but trust
Right.
us.
I want to tie back to that example of the cartoon that you saw
Yeah.
with the couple on the beach and, we're still us. What happens if someone is, I'm just going to use the phrase unhappy in their current work situation, and they do make the changes and they start something new and they're still them? How
Mm.
do they make sure? Do you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you gotta do the inner work, because you're never gonna be happy by an external factor via a job, a location, a house, a partner. You gotta get happy inside. And that's too deep of a subject right now. I'm a huge fan of coaching. As you and I are both coaches. I think the best coaches have coaches. So don't just think
Yes,
we're preaching because we're coaches. We have coaches, therapy,
we do.
all of that. Find out what
Yes.
makes you happy and start with that exercise. I'm here too. I'm here too. I'm here too. And I learned that that's what makes me happy. Being a broker, I'm not here to be a real estate broker. I am one. I own a real estate company. It's not my mission, but I am here to teach and coach and lead by example. I'm still in production. I just really enjoy being able to help somebody, one of my agents who's in a situation they don't know how to handle. I like
Right.
knowing how to guide them through it so that they feel good, they get paid, their client gets paid, everyone's happy. That's why I do what I do. I'm here to teach and lead. I'm not here to broker, quote unquote. So just because you're in a job, let's just say a broker or a salesperson or some title that maybe doesn't feel like it's satisfying your soul, I would first start with, well, what can I do within this role that does satisfy my soul? Let's say you're an accountant at a firm. And there's something else you want to do. You want to get into sales or operations. You don't have to quit. I would go to my boss and say, hey, I have this plan for myself this year, and I would love to see myself grow within this company from an accountant into operations. What would a 6-month timeline look like for me to achieve that here under your guidance?
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. It's not you don't just quit, because again, you're going to be you at the next job. So work with what you have. And then if your boss is like, no, you're an accountant, get back to work. Well, then, yeah, then you can consider quitting, because obviously that person doesn't support your mission.
And you can do it in a manner that is not necessarily rash, and you can make informed decisions and a plan for yourself.
absolutely, and do it in a team environment, like, with your boss, with your colleagues. And if they don't support you, then, yellow flag. Then maybe it's not the place for you.
What other areas in life do you set standards for yourself? Could you share a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, lately it's been sleep has been my new
Mhm.
obsession. I just got a Whoop about 30, 40 days ago, which tracks sleep and heart rate variability and all that stuff.
This just
And
makes me laugh
yeah,
because
there you are. When you got
I have
some wearables.
Fitbit.
So a Fitbit, yeah. Peter Attia, he's an author, wrote a great book called
Mhm.
Outlive. He says these are fine as
Yes.
long as they don't give you anxiety. So if you're obsessed with data and tracking and it actually is keeping you up because you're worried about your sleep score, then you shouldn't wear one. But
Right.
sleep's been a new game I've played with myself to achieve those sleep scores. And the standards are that I'm a good sleeper. That is my standard. So, okay, perfect example. It's New Year's Eve. My neighbor has an incredible view of the Las Vegas Strip. He has a great party planned. We get the invitation. Party starts at 9 p.m.
Mhm.
And I texted him back, "Why is your party start at my bedtime?" And he's like, "It's New Year's Eve." I'm like, "I know." I was kind of kidding. I go, "Well,
Right.
my wife and I celebrate East Coast New Year's Eve, which is 9 p.m. Pacific. We watch the ball drop in New York and we're in bed by 10. So thank you for the invitation. Love you.
Right.
Happy New Year. See you in the new year." So that's me setting a standard. I did not let a cool party
Right.
affect my standard of sleep for myself. I've just made it. I know I'm a better performer in everything I do when I uphold that schedule. Now, at the same time, I believe in everything in moderation and all rules are meant to be broken. I do indulge in late nights from time to time, but I'm selective about it. And
Yes.
I think that's a standard I have for myself. And it comes at the sacrifice of missing a party or like not staying late to a party. Like that's okay. Good things don't always happen after midnight anyhow. So your real friends and family will respect you and remain your friend if you decline an invitation or you leave their party early to take care of your health or your sleep,
That's
whatever your
right.
standard may be.
Well, it's interesting you just brought up friends. Now that you mentioned that, I believe, and I'm not the first one to say it, it's not even from me, it's from my mentors and coaches in the past. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah. And
And
Jim Rohn gets the credit for that
Jim
world
Rohn,
famous
thank you,
quote.
because
Yes.
was not pulling it out quickly enough, so thank
I
you for
love
that.
that.
Yes, Jim Rohn, you become that average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Have you used your approach of either of standard setting in terms of friendships and who you spend time with and relationships?
Yeah, without naming names, 1000% yes. Almost every year you notice the friend circle kind of shifts, that top 5 fluctuates. And it is a beautiful thing. You start to just make room. Even if let's just say you've only got 4 friends and 2 of them are trouble and you're like, "Well, I only have 4 friends. I'll keep hanging out with them." When you stop hanging out with them and make it organic, it doesn't have to be this dramatic breakup. It's like a
Right,
quiet
right.
a
Yeah.
quiet quitting, I call it. You start declining things. And again, like look yourself in the eye in the mirror and just be like, "Do I really want to go there? Are these the people that I want to hang out with? What good's coming of this?" And not good as in gain, like personal gain, sales, selling a house or anything like that. It's like
Right.
just how do I feel being there? And there's a group of friends and I love these people. Like they're just people living their lives. It's just not aligned with what I wanna do with my limited time on earth because it is very
Yes.
limited. That's how I consider things is like, man, I just watched, the Eddie Murphy documentary on Netflix, and he's such a homebody, and he's so proud of it, and I just love to see this, like, mega star comedian. He's just like, "I just like chilling at the crib. I like my house and my family. I'm good just staying here. I don't really need to go to any Hollywood parties." And this guy has access to everything on the planet,
Everything.
and he wants to
Right.
stay home, and I just respect that so much. So yeah, you got to make those choices because you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I would write those 5 people down, and that my 5 has changed. And as I mentioned, I still love those who've fallen out of the top 5. It doesn't mean they're not in the top 20, and it doesn't
That's
mean
right.
I don't
It
say
doesn't mean that it's 5 only, and that there's no
it's the
other
top
people in your
5.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my plans, things have changed in my life, frankly, just because of that. And if you're the number 1 in that top 5, then like you're not going to really grow, and whether it's in business or personally.
Right.
Um, yeah, I've cut back, thanks to the Whoop actually. Like I'm not doing dry January, but I've kind of cut back on alcohol going back to I'd say 2 months ago. And like you realize, oh, like this friend is doing it too. And then now it's like he was maybe in the top 10, but it's like, oh, bring this guy into my life who's drinking a lot less. And what did you learn from it? He's like, oh, it's been a
Right.
full year for me cutting back. And I'm like, all right, tell me, what do I have to look forward to? Is a year better than a month? Is, just, and now I've got this new person I'm seeing more of and spending more time with that's helping me achieve a goal that I otherwise wasn't working on, 6 months ago.
I think that's great. You It sounds like you do, but do you enjoy challenging yourself, I'll say unnecessarily? So do you like to pick you know what? For this month, I'm going to try this. Or for this month, for 100 days, I'm not going to drink. Or,
Yeah,
so it sounds like you enjoy doing that.
you're
Why do you
calling me
enjoy
out.
that? And how does that impact your life?
So again, just like goal standards, not goals, I've learned to not be so specific. Like I'm not drinking this month.
Okay.
Like actually, I did that last January. I did that and I broke. And I was like, oh, my buddy from Ireland's coming in. We always get pints. And then like I felt terrible that I broke that promise to myself.
Hmm.
But like it was just felt unnecessary to have such strict standards. So I don't have like, all right, it's a challenge of the month. But again, as I mentioned, I set resolutions fluidly throughout the year. Absolutely. I started lifting weights about 18 months ago. And again, no set strict schedule.
Hmm.
I made it like, oh, I lift weights now. That's it. So if I'm that person, then I got to go to the gym today. And then it really does become an identity. I was talking to my brother. He's also a real estate agent, also a very mindful agent and a weightlifter. And he's just like, I love training, he calls it, so much that I have to now make it my reward for my phone calls. So he has set, if there's something you enjoy, like he's a hardcore hustler. He does 4 hours of calls a day and then he
Hmm.
treats himself to the gym. And it started off when he started as I have to go to the gym. And now he's identified with it so much that it's his reward for work. So
That's
you'll
awesome.
see over time, it becomes a standard. So I don't to it like this month I'm doing this year I'm doing that, but I definitely, you hit the nail on the head, love to challenge myself. I
Yes.
got into cycling right before COVID and I really started to push myself and challenge myself. And I will say I'd love to talk about the detriments of that overexertion and overdoing it is bad, just as bad as underdoing it. My wife and I had a business when we moved out to Vegas. We were not doing well financially. I felt immense pressure to do better and better. And I just thought working harder was the answer. And I ended up getting very sick. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis.
Wow.
That disease, it wrecked me. It took me down to 115 pounds. I'm almost
Wow.
6 foot tall. I was skin and bones,
Hmm.
hospitalized twice, multiple blood transfusions, and ultimately I was bedridden for 6 months. So if you have that personality like mine, where you love to challenge yourself and push your limits and you're super driven, I would caution you to proceed with some balance and harmony with your health being the number one priority and not letting anything, especially work, take over because you're never going to get rich without your health.
I'm really glad that you came through that and made it through and that you're on this side of it now.
Me too.
You're you've said a couple of things I just want to make sure that we highlight. You've mentioned a few times how we do have a limited amount of time. And after what you went through with that experience of being so sick, I'm sure that really brought that into clear focus for you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you realize how precious life is. And I really want you to listen if you're out there and you're young and you're healthy, like you're not invincible no matter what you think you are. Burning the candle on both ends, working 7 days a week is not sustainable. You're a human being, you're a biological creature. You will wear out. I mentioned sleep is my new standard because that's where restoration happens and recovery happens. So, if you can have a priority to, have some physical fitness, to get a good night's sleep, well, then you can be a better business person. You will be.
Yes.
It's just
Yes, you will be.
biology. Like
Right.
you're gonna have more energy. You're gonna be mentally focused. Will be great. Like stay hydrated. Keep your brain hydrated. Your body hydrated. All that stuff we know we're supposed to do. People who are working hard are like, oh yeah, it's a badge of honor. Like that I stay in the office till 10 o'clock, and I don't need to
Right.
take breaks or go for walks. That's like wimpy stuff. And it's like that. I've never known anyone who didn't regret that lifestyle choice in the long.
Yes, I do not know anyone either who did
So
not
yeah,
either suffer a consequence
mm,
similar to what you went through, um, or had the moment of realization at some point of what am I doing? The news flash, whatever you're doing and wherever you are, I guess I should give one disclaimer. 99.9% of anyone who's listening to this, you could be replaced tomorrow at work. You cannot be replaced tomorrow in your own body, in your own family, or in your circle of friends,
yeah.
right? So
I'm glad you mentioned family and friends because it's not always like a health catastrophe, but it could be a relationship catastrophe.
I have suffered relationship catastrophes, yes, and see it now and didn't see it then.
I think that's more
So
common.
I believe it's very common.
Yeah, you
Yes,
take your eye off, what matters. So what am
that's
I
right.
doing this all for? Yeah, a couple of life-changing books. The Five Regrets of the Dying was a
Yes,
very viral book about 20 years ago. An Australian nurse who would take care of people as they died started a blog documenting the trends she noticed spending time with these people when they spoke about their life. It's a wonderful book that we all need to realize that deathbed that she experienced, for years with multiple people is coming sooner than we like to admit. We all like to think
yes.
that there's an endless supply of days, but that's simply not the case. And I value that more than I value anything I've ever done in business. And now if I have a client who just rubs me the wrong way, I fire them right away. I just got a feeling in my gut just thinking of some past examples, like that bad feeling, like, oh, this when the phone rings and your heart sinks and it's
I
that
know that
person,
feeling.
like, it's not worth the commission. It's
It
not.
is not. It's not.
Yeah, you don't like what you're gonna spend hours and hours and hours with this person. They will not be pleasurable. They will be painful. It could lead to worse things. You reminded me of a visual of bumper bowling. You ever played bumper bowling?
Yes.
The bowling alley with the little
Hmm.
gutters or have bumpers on them.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody once told me it's like you're the ball and rejection is like hitting the bumper. It's keeping you from going in the gutter and kicking you back down the lane that you're supposed to be in.
That is great.
I love that
Yeah, that's a
visual.
great visual.
Because like,
So
ow, that hurt a bit, but now I'm back where I'm supposed to be
that's right. Yes. And you're still on the lane. So
in the
that's
lane,
really
keeping
good.
it moving.
With so Michael, our chosen industry has definitely gone through quite an interesting few years. And I believe it's safe to say some of our colleagues are experiencing burnout or feeling as if they're disenchanted with our industry. Do you feel like setting standards for yourself rather than goals, do you believe that could help with a feeling of burnout?
And so setting a standard for myself to help with burnout, yeah, that standard would be boundaries, as we kind of just touched upon. If there's a client that is just not respecting you, then cut them off and have a standard that I work with people who respect me. That's one of I'm big on mantra and affirmations. I'm a big journaler. Like I work with people that want to work with me is an affirmation I say constantly. I value my knowledge and my skills. And yeah, if that person doesn't, goodbye. There's 16,000 agents, I believe, in Las Vegas alone, people or
Right.
Nevada who have a license. Go find another one of the other 15,999. I say I don't care, but I don't. Like I have such self-respect and that
Yes.
comes from experience. But if you're a new agent, like study the market, know your data, know your worth. And like if you want a listing presentation, you tell somebody, hey, your house is worth 600,000 and they want you to list it for 700,000, you can show them with the data and with confidence it's worth 600. If you sign with somebody at 7, it's your choice, it's your house. Just know that you're going to be spinning your wheels and say that to somebody with confidence. And if they choose that person, go, thank God, rejection is protection. And I
Correct.
just
Yes.
avoided a bunch of wasted time and money. So my standard is definitely I work with people who want to work with me and respect me and vice versa. I need to be able to respect my buyers and sellers. Because if they're just like lying to me up front, think of all the risks that like you could literally get sued for non-disclosure. They could hide things from you,
Yes.
material facts. You can get caught up in a catastrophe. And if you have a low standard of yourself, and you'll take any client.
Right. I feel like this is very intriguing And you and I both know there are agents right now, or people in sales, or humans that are closing out this month of January. And many of them set a plan for the year and resolutions and goals and targets. And many of them are already off course. They may be listening to us because they want to create change in their life and they're still in this conversation. What if they feel very attached to the plan they made? Like, but this is the plan. If I let go of the plan and set standards instead of goals, that feels scary. What would you say to them
Yeah, I mean,
if
I
they're,
just from experience, it's far less scary because it's why is it scary is what I would ask. Is it because it's gonna be hard? You know, a standard of I'm somebody who is into physical fitness. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. Like maybe that's why you're scared. Or I'm somebody who makes 2 hours of calls a day. That's scary. That's very scary. Why is it scary? Well, I'm gonna get rejected a lot. Okay, why is that scary? And generally, you ask yourself why a couple times, you run out of excuses because what's so scary about somebody rejecting you other
that's right.
than your ego gets bruised? But just know you're a random voice on the phone talking to somebody else. There's nothing to do with you. They're not rejecting you whatsoever. You
That's
just
right.
you just called at the wrong time, caught them on a bad day, the timing was off, move on. So if you just need to get redialed in on your standard of making the next call. You got to focus on the process, not the outcome. Whatever you
Yes.
do, whether it's your relationship with a partner, your kids, or your business, like if you master your process in your life, whatever it is, you will sleep well at night knowing you did your best. And then it comes with a certain level of faith. And this isn't a religious or spiritual topic, but just believing that you're going to be safe and sound.
Yes.
It goes a long way. Thoughts become things and your energy is super important both intrinsically and externally for what you're attracting into your life. And if you believe that, hey, I did my best today and good will come of it, and so it is, it's going to happen for you day in and day out. If you can do that, you're on your way. So don't be scared, have some faith.
What would they do on a day or a time where they feel as if they're not living up to the standards they've set and they're feeling
Mhm.
disappointed in themselves?
I love that question. Take a nap, take a walk, let it go. Yeah, don't work your way through it. It's all good. Like, I really believe in rest days.
Yeah,
I forget where I first heard the rest run cycle is, some days are meant for running, some days are meant for resting. It's just been that way. Like follow the cues of nature. It's not always sunny out and even like the worst thunderstorms pass. So you're never going to be in that storm forever and it's never going to be good forever. The good news is and the bad news is that everything changes. So, we
right.
want the good things to stay good and the bad things to go away. But with that mindset, just know, hey, this is a bad day. I'm not feeling it. I don't feel good. I don't have the energy to make the calls. That's okay. You have to listen to that and honor that and do something for yourself, whether that's, going for a walk, a swim, watching Netflix. Just you can't make every day a rest day. So you can't wake up
That's right.
tomorrow and Netflix and Netflix and Netflix. That becomes a problem too. Yin and yang.
Well, I think that ties back to where we began our entire conversation. If you're having that feeling every day, to me that's a symptom of a greater issue and it's time to reevaluate your whatever it is that you're staying away from. Is it career? Is it industry? Is it job? Yeah.
You said staying away from, and I have to touch on that. Like, avoidance is always worse than the failure of trying. Avoidance is automatic failure. Avoidance is
Yes.
always wondering what if. It's quitting. It's just the worst feeling to avoid as opposed to try and fail. Maybe it's like, oh, I don't want to do that thing because I'm afraid of failing, but not doing it is automatically failing. So think about that logically. If you try, hey, you might succeed. You might get through. Or if you don't, well, you're back where you started. So there's never a reason not to try the new thing. And again, don't quit your job today because you're feeling
That's right.
inspired. But if you want to be a teacher and you're currently a realtor, like go teach a class for free. Go volunteer one day. Go to a school and volunteer. Go have a luncheon with other teachers and ask them what it's like. Take someone to coffee that's a teacher. Like just you can start. Doesn't have to be this dramatic change. And if that coffee inspires you, then do the next thing and take the next step. One step at a time. and to share a story, I was recently approached by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation to join their board, and I respectfully declined, not because I don't believe in the cause. I just didn't want to take this major leap to be a board member on a nonprofit. I said, I'm interested in what you're doing. Obviously, I struggled with this, and I want to be an inspiration or a help in any way possible to somebody going through these diseases. So you can call me if you need help for your silent auction or you need someone to start a team for your charity walk. I'm not saying no to your foundation. I'm saying no to this big role, but I'm a yes to helping you. So like let me know how I can help in small ways. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be on the board, but I knew I
Maybe.
wanted to lean into it. That's it.
Hmm. I think that's great.
Lean in.
Well, on the and to use the cliche, it was an honor to be invited.
Yeah. I like that. Thank you so much for
And
your
it is, yeah,
Yeah, it really is.
it's a kudos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, and it comes from experience, I think, that was part of my burnout when I got sick. I was on the board of a nonprofit and, you just have all these responsibilities that start to weigh you down, and it's all the goodness of your heart, but, like, even if it's a wonderful charity, like, do I have the time that they're asking me to do? And it's only fair for both parties because if you say yes and you're not really committed, then that's not fair to the
That's not
organization
fair to
either.
yeah. And again, that can lead to disappointing others, not even just yourself or having repercussions. So, yeah, strong you made what may have felt like an uncomfortable decision in the moment, and yet it was better for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I've
Yeah.
learned to say no as you get older. You're okay, like as you said, like thank you for that opportunity, or it's an
Mhm.
honor to be considered. But no,
Right.
or the New Year's Eve party. Thanks for having the invitation. But
That's
no.
right.
And it's not
No.
no, never invite me again. No, but have a good party. Let's grab coffee in the new year. Like I want the relationship. I just don't want to
That's
do
right.
that specific thing,
Right.
you know?
Well, I think that this is just very compelling. I love the thought of setting standards for yourself and claiming it. As you were talking, and the several times throughout our conversation where you said, I'm a runner, I'm a good sleeper, you're just claiming it. You're claiming it as a way of being rather than saying, I run 3 times a week for 1.7 miles each time. Like
Yeah,
it's just
that's
becoming
stressful.
part of who you are.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, I'm not a runner, I guess, like, I'm not a marathon runner. There's like, I identify as a runner as far as my definition, which I run in the trails 1 day a week, and it's about 5K. And it's funny, some people are like, "Oh my god, that's, like, so much." And others
Right.
are like, What are you training for? Are you gonna do a marathon? You do a half marathon? You gonna do the ultra? You heard
Right.
about
Yeah.
this race?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm not that kinda runner." Like, I tell them, I'm like, "I don't know anything about any of that. I just do it for my sanity and my health, and I love being in nature." Like, I'm not competing, right? So, there's different definitions, but I identify that's my standard and that I set for myself, and it just becomes, like, a no-brainer. Even we were on vacation and woke up, it was early, and we had a little time before something, and I went for a run on the beach because I'm a runner. Like, it didn't take
Right.
convincing. It
Right.
didn't take, like, "Oh my god, I'm nervous. How's it gonna be?" It's like, I knew I could do it
Uh-huh.
because, that's who I am. I knew I could rent bikes sometimes on vacation and go on long bike rides by myself because I'm also a cyclist. And yeah, I'm not a competitor. I'm not hardcore. You're not going to see me on any
Right.
podiums anymore. But like, I just know I can do it. It's part of who I am. And you did call me out on accepting challenges too much, but now my new challenge is the game of golf. And yeah, I
Oh.
just say I'm a golfer. It's part of what I do. And
Well,
again,
I like the challenging, and I call it experimenting. So you're experimenting like, what if I was a better golfer?
yeah.
I am a better golfer. Yeah.
Well, it's like, can I do this for myself, right? I do really enjoy that intrinsic challenge of seeing through my commitments. And I just try to set an example for, my nieces and nephew as well. Like, whatever you choose to do, see it through, give it your best.
Right.
And again, like, there's no such thing as failure. To quote Nelson Mandela, I either win or I learn. I never lose.
That's right.
And that is so true. Like, I have learned so much by trying. And sometimes you learn what you don't like and what you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
And that's just as
Yes,
valuable.
absolutely. Well, you mentioned that you are a big believer in mantras and affirmations, and I am as well. And I wanted to share two that I use every day, and maybe you could share too, although you just also shared with that great perspective from Nelson Mandela. I feel if anyone is facing a quandary now where they're either reconsidering career or they're not happy where they are in life, if you just start affirming every day, it's another day above ground, gonna make it great. Thank you for this day above ground. And I move through the day with ease and elegance.
I move through the day with ease and elegance. I like that.
And
Smooth.
yeah, so those are two that I like to share.
Everything is working out for my highest good. I love that one. You
I
can
do
say it
too.
in good times and bad.
That's right.
Everything is working out for my everything. 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 And you have to mean that. The person that hung up on me, the client that didn't sign with
That's right.
me, everything's working out for my highest good.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you want to share?
I could probably ramble about this all day. I think we covered my hot topics for sure. And just I would only add that, whoever you are out there, I believe in you and you're more powerful than you know.
I agree. Michael, thank you so much for being our guest. You can reach out to Michael on his website, Michael Coxen, as well on all the socials and on our various links, wherever you're consuming this podcast, you will have the contact information for Michael. Michael, thank you for being here. I would love it if you would join me again next year and we could have another conversation either about burnout or some of the other topics that you cover so well. And if you are listening to this conversation, I hope that you'll return to the inner estate as well. Thank you and have a great day.